Hi, I'm Bhairavv, and for this season of Art Sparks, I was asked to pick 8 objects from the map collection that I was really curious about or had many questions about. And with me here is Shubhashri.
And together, we are going to look at this very unique set of paintings to try and answer all the questions that Bhairavv has.
I've never seen anything like these before. What are they made on? Is it glass?
Actually, it's mica, which is sort of like a mineral that you usually find within stones like granite. And the really cool thing about mica is that they come as crystals, they form as crystals, but you can kind of peel them out as layers very easily.
These are all of this size, they're all quite small. Is that the usual size of mica, or are there mica paintings that are larger?
In the genre of mica painting, they're usually small, they vary to some degree. Like you can see this one, which is slightly bigger than these. In the museum collection, we have some which are also bigger than what you see here. But more or less, they're smaller in size. This is because they are lightweight, right? Because they're very thin sheets. And the idea was also to make them portable, so you can easily carry them with you. So they're usually made smaller and as sets.
Okay. And why were these paintings made on mica?
Well, one is obviously the case of the weight. They are lightweight, they are easy to carry. So this genre of mica paintings actually comes under a larger school of art called company paintings, which were paintings commissioned by British patrons but were done by Indian artists. Can you guess why they are called company paintings?
Well, I've heard of the East India Company. Is
Yeah.
it something to do with that?
Yeah, absolutely. What's special about this is that this art form actually is a mix of European styles. So you see traces of shadow and like light and shade. You see traces of perspective, but also Indian styles. The people who worked in this style were all Indian artists. They were just hired by the British officials and they were commissioned to do all kinds of different paintings. Because it was a hybrid, it got this unique name of company paintings. And within that tradition, you have all kinds of things. You have like large canvases, you have regular pieces artwork, and you also have this special genre of the mica paintings. So it's under the school of company paintings.
Right. Can we look at these paintings one by one, a bit more in detail?
Sure.
I'll start with this one here. So I can see that they're carrying something, so probably it's transportation, because
Right.
I don't think there was that great transportation in those days.
Okay.
And they look like bundles, so maybe clothes, they maybe wash clothes and transport it to people or something like that.
Yeah, I agree with you. They are. This figure is obviously transporting these items from one place to the other. What do you think the second painting is about?
I think I might know what that one is, because in the basement in my apartment, I see people ironing clothes for the residents of the apartment. So, and here, of course, there's a table with a cloth over there, and the man is using the iron machine
Right.
for ironing the cloth. So
Yeah.
they're probably an iron man.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So at this point, I guess all of these are supposed to be occupations or vocations of people of those days.
Great. Yeah, that is the set. If that's the set, so obviously that's the transportation person. This is the Iron Man. What do you think that one is?
A dancer.
Yeah.
It's quite obvious.
Okay.
This one I'm more curious about though, because I guess they're supposed to be occupations, of course, but I can't really think of this as an occupation, because maybe they're sitting next to the sea or an ocean or something.
Right.
And they're holding something in their hand. Is that a cup of tea or coffee? But I don't get how this qualifies as a profession.
Yeah. Why do you say the sea or the ocean?
It's blue.
The color itself
Yeah.
reminds you of seas or
Yeah.
like water bodies.
Yeah.
And what do you think if this person is maybe drinking tea? What do you think that the yellow bit is?
Oh, now that you say it, yeah, there's some sort of a design here that isn't there here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I thought it was a table at first, but I guess it could maybe be a cloth and they're
Right.
printing, because I've heard of block printing before, where they use a block with a design and they print designs onto
Yeah.
the textile. Is that what this is?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Can you tell me a little bit about the technique? How do you think it's made?
Well, I thought they'd have the block that has an impression, and they paint on the impression
Right.
and they press on that
Yeah.
onto the textile.
Yeah, that's one way. Sometimes they also just dip it in dye and print. And that's exactly what this person is doing. In the North Indian belt, they're called the chippas, from chap, which in Hindi means stamping. So this is a vocation of the block printer or the chippa. And you correctly pointed out the table. It is a table. And even when you go to these traditional block printing centers, right, you will see them printing on like these very long tables, and they put the cloth on it, and you kind of just do the stamp like that. So that's exactly what this figure is doing. So the blue bit that you see here, I think it's just an artistic choice made by the painter. As you can notice here, you have brown bases. This one has this white base, which to me looks like a stage because it's a dancer. This is just a blue base. And what about the last one?
I don't know. I've never seen anyone like that
Right.
nowadays. But if I had to guess, they look like they're holding some sort of like a carrier with them that's made of maybe cow leather or goat leather. And of course, that's a liquid that they're pouring into a bucket. So maybe milk or water, something like that. Maybe they give milk or water to the village or the locality.
Okay, I have two questions. Why do you think this is leather, and why do you think that's milk?
It's black and it's not hard. It's not like a flask or anything.
Okay.
Or it's not like a proper plastic carrier or something.
Right, yeah.
It looks just like flexible and it's black, so I guess it's leather.
Why do you think that's milk?
It's white in color.
Okay, so you're going by the colors.
But I guess you wouldn't really carry milk that way, so
Okay.
maybe water as well.
Okay, yeah, you're very close to the answer. It is leather. These are huge bags of water, actually, and they were made mostly from buffalo hide. Buffalo hide turned into like a big bag. And this person, he's not really carrying milk, he's carrying water. And back in the day, you know, when you don't have this regular supply of water in your homes, you would have these people go around your locality giving you water. So it could be water for storage in your homes, it could be like you're out on the streets, you're thirsty, you find one of these guys and ask them for a glass of water. So they were that. It's a completely almost dead profession. You do not see them anymore. And they're called bhishtis, right? The word bhishti, it comes from the Persian word for heaven. So the idea is that if you're thirsty and you're giving somebody water, that kind of is like a stairway to heaven.
Okay,
Yeah. So yeah, that's that profession.
right. I've never heard of Bishti before.
Yeah, yeah. Because it's completely dead. It's a very obstacle.
Right. Is painting on mica similar to painting on glass? Because I know painting on glass is quite difficult and irritating. So, is there a special method that people use to paint on mica? Or?
So when you've tried painting on glass, what is the color? What kind of colors did you use?
The colors didn't work. There was. I think I tried using watercolor,
Right.
but it didn't really stick to the glass at all. It just came into clumps.
Yeah, yeah. So this is kind of like watercolor, but actually more opaque, more like acrylic actually. It's
Okay.
this material called gouache. What it helps in is bringing in the opacity of especially the bases, right? You see how they're completely like a block of color, as opposed to the areas which are not colored, which are completely transparent.
Those are transparent.
Yes, they are. Why don't we take one out and see for ourselves? So that's the cool thing about mica. You have this colors which are blocking out entire areas and then spaces which are completely transparent.
Yeah, it's
Kind
very
of
cool.
like glass, but lightweight, more easy to carry with you, which is why it was a more common choice.
So these are all occupations, and I think there's supposed to be other mica paintings that I've heard of being in the museum.
Yeah.
Are they also of occupations, or are they different types?
Well, for you, we chose this set. We made it for like 5 different occupations for you. But in the map collection, we have all different kinds. Even as a genre of mica paintings, like I said, right, these were made by British patrons who commissioned these Indian artists to come and paint for them. And the idea was for them to take this back home to England or send it to England, you know, as like souvenirs, as images of what India looks like this exoticizing of the country. So you have obviously occupations and people, the kinds of people you see in this country, but you also have sites, you have monuments, you have landscape, you have flora, fauna. So basically everything that you see in this very exotic foreign land, you document it, you put it in these small albums and you send it back home. That was the idea. So you have a whole range of different types. In our collection itself, we have people, We also have gods and goddesses, Hindu gods and goddesses. And I think we also have some images of festivals, some slightly larger, but like Durga Puja or Muharram, festivals like that.
In those times when mica paintings were made, of course it's quite old and
Right.
it's rare to make something so fragile because I guess it's not like a material normally chosen by artists to paint on. So do people still paint on mica? Is it seen nowadays or?
Well, as far as I know, not contemporary practices, I haven't heard of anybody working on mica unless you're kind of deriving inspiration from this method or doing it as a nod to this practice. Also, like you said, they are so fragile and they're so hard to maintain and they have these reactions happening to them all the time. In general, mica paintings as a genre is very rare in the world. You have very few of them, which is why the role of museums come into play, right? It's our responsibility as museums to preserve and keep them for viewing, for engaging with them as much as we can.
Yeah, it's cool I was able to see something so rare.
I know, right? Lucky.
Thank you.
MAP's collection includes a variety of mica paintings. Why don't you check out our website and try and guess what each painting shows?
You can also follow their social media handles and subscribe to their YouTube channel to get frequent updates on what they do here at MAP.
Thank you for joining us. See you in the next one.
Bye.